All right, welcome to the Restroom podcast. I'm Vitaly. That's Sean. We're gonna talk about guests real quick. Um, so I had people over this weekend. Do you guys ever have like people stay with you? I know you have like family and stuff come over, but do you ever have people like just stay at your place?
No. Um, we actually destroyed our guest room specifically to sabotage the ability for anybody to stay here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we turned it
I
into a bathroom, actually.
really like for
Absolutely.
that reason.
Yeah, I was just like, I
Oops.
do not want to have any opportunity for people to stay over. And the living room is like especially cold because it's like stone tile and it has a big ass door in the back that definitely seeps in like cold air or hot air. And so our place is very conducive to Kaylee and I and Aurelia and the dogs, of course, but it is, and that's where it stops. It is actually very anti stay over and very anti stay here for long periods of time in the sense that I designed the downstairs area and it's very cold and very like don't touch anything type of thing. So it's designed to make people feel uncomfortable to the point where they want to leave.
I mean, that's a house that I dream of owning. We had some people over, and very like the thing is, we have a one bedroom, and we come from a culture of like having people come over and stay and stuff like that. And sometimes you have a guest who sucks. Sometimes you have good ones. Like these guests were actually really good. As far as like how guests go, on the I mean, they're great people and great fun and stuff like that. So, but as far as like keeping stuff clean, like I've had guests before where they come in and like open their suitcase. I live in a fucking one bedroom. They come in, open their suitcase, and like they'll have clothes on the couch when they leave. Like they'll go out for the day in the city and like they'll have just their shit on my couch. And that would kill me. But these guests like cleaned. They ate over the counter. Like I don't have a table, so they eat over the counter. You know what I mean? Everything was nice, clean. They did only one annoying thing that really got to me by the end of the weekend. They left their toiletries on the sink. I have like a small sink, and they kept leaving their toiletries like right on the sink. And I don't know, that one little thing, it's like you can do 99 out of 100 things amazing. You do that one little thing that annoys me, everything just goes out the window. I don't know if that's like a normal, but after that, you
Um,
start seeing everything as annoying.
I'm the same way. And
This might not be. Sorry, go ahead.
it's not normal. I don't think it's normal, but I think at the very least it's what is it like n plus one or some shit like that, where
Yeah.
both of us feel the same way, so we're validated to each other. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean it's very destructive to my closest relationships for sure because if they do like 100 things that are amazing and perfect, I'm like, this is awesome. And then the one time that they trip up, I'm just like, I can't stand you, bro. I go something like that.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it is at least normalized for me personally.
Are you public with your I'll cut this if you're not, but are you public with your with your public restroom use
Am I public with my
style?
public restroom use? Yeah, I mean
Your
I
style.
yeah, dude. I mean I use this podcast as a way to unmask, and so it feels great to do that. And yeah, I don't give a shit. Like it's just one of those things where whenever I'm in a public bathroom, I will use the stall and not the urinal.
Yeah. Okay. So um we were out and about this weekend and we ended up in a bookstore, which by the way, I don't understand how bookstores are packed all the time. Like the Strand bookstore, there's no way that there's that many people who read. Like how do we have like random old, like used bookstores everywhere. People buy shit online now. Like, how are these? How do people pretend that they read in these books? I see people walk in and walk out without buying a single thing all the time.
It's probably the most like performative
Yeah,
thing that you could possibly ever do is go to a used bookstore because there's always these people that are like, "Hey, I hate Amazon and I'm going to go to Strand bookstore or whatever and I will sit there and spend a couple of dollars and think that I'm doing my part in upholding a fabric of society or what have you." But
yeah,
it's kind of like going to Blockbuster and renting a movie there,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. That
it,
in like record stores.
yeah, I mean, record stores I can understand because like there is a resurgence of vinyl and it supposedly it sounds better on vinyl. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been to a bookstore since the inception of the internet.
Well, I was there this weekend, so
You went to
we
Strand.
yeah. So we went up there, and I went to use the restroom, and they have a pretty nice, clean bathroom. As far as like, if you're in New York City and you need a clean bathroom in the East Village, the Strand bookstore is a really good one, and that's important. Like, I don't know, people from New York City probably don't get that, but you need to know where the good public restrooms are. Um, so me, I tend to say things that most people wouldn't say in public. Um, I don't know why. It's probably not a good thing. I've gotten in trouble for it before, but I just can't hold it in. So I walk into this bathroom, and there's four people in this bathroom, okay? One of them is using the urinal. One is in the stall, one's waiting in the stall. And there's this one kid standing up against the wall. Bro, you would freak out. You
Yeah,
would
I'm getting
probably
uncomfortable
freeze.
just listening to this.
You would probably freeze. Like, if you were the guy at the urinal, you would probably stand there for hours. This kid was standing leaning up against the wall, back to back with the guy at the urinal. And I mean touching each other. So I walk in, they're like touching backs. So I walk in and immediately start laughing. And everybody's like looking around him, and the guy peeing is just staring at the wall in front of him. And I look at the guy standing next in front behind him, like, are you guys together? He's like, no. And I was like, I'm still laughing. I'm like, yeah, man, like, you don't know him? He's like, no. I'm like, you can't stand there. What are you doing?
Are they leaning on each other? Like,
No, the guy who's peeing, is frozen. And the guy that's standing behind him, back to back, is leaning slightly on him. And he's like, no, we're not together. I'm like, you can't stand there. What are you doing? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you can't stand there. The guy's trying to take a leak. What are you doing?
so the
And
other guy is not peeing. The other guy is just waiting, and he's
he's
just
just standing at the urinal with his penis in his hand. There's no sounds. He's just standing in shock.
yeah, that would be me. Like
Yeah.
every time I go to a urinal and I have to go into a urinal and there's just someone around my environment, I can't pee.
So I was like, you can't stand there. Like, and I'm still laughing. So he moves. And I go to the urinal next to this guy. There's only two of them. And I'm like peeing, and the guy, like, he's looking forward. He goes, thank you so much. That was insane.
You like save them from an assault, essentially.
He's like, that was crazy. I don't know what is what's the, oh my God.
Bro, you
He finished and left immediately. He
like
didn't
it could
even
have
look at
went way
me.
worse for him.
Huh?
It could have went way worse for him if you hadn't shown up. Like you are like the hero that he needed at that point. You know, like the Enrique Iglesias hero song to play when you walk into the Strand bathroom.
Yeah. Enrique in the bathroom. He's used to those. That's normal. That's a
No, like you know that song like from Enrique
Yeah, I can
Iglesias.
be your hero. It's one of
Yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite
yeah. I'm
songs of
like
the '90s.
hyper fixated on what I think about on a bi-daily basis is how Enrique Iglesias's guitarist plays the guitar upright
You think about that?
all the time, dude. I all the like whenever I have a free moment, I let intrusive thoughts go into my head. The first thing I think about is why the hell is he playing it upright?
I need
Is
to
it
see
to like
this.
project that he's like more sensitive or more caring as a man or some shit like that? But yeah, I think about random things and
Oh,
hyperfixate on them like all day long, which is why I enjoy staying busy. So that way I don't have to think about these things. But the moment I get a free moment, I'm just like, yeah, why the fuck is he playing it upright? You know, like what are you trying to prove and what are you trying to say by doing that? I even sometimes think about whether he still plays it upright.
just in the studio when he's like coming up with a new song.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But I mean, going back to the whole bathroom thing, I know what I would do if I was in that situation because I've been in that situation before, and I just wouldn't do anything.
Wait, if you were in my position or if you were standing there?
If I was in your position, I guess both. I would just observe and just see how it plays out and not really call attention to the leaning of each other and how uncomfortable this other
You
guy is.
wouldn't say anything?
No, I wouldn't say anything. I would just watch and see how it plays out because that's more amusing to me than intervening. Because I'm a very much like live and let live type of guy. I don't think any particular characteristic about you defines you. And I don't think you should be judged off of your worst characteristic or highlighted because of your best characteristic. And I think that this guy that was invading the urinal guy's space, that's probably like the lowest he's been in a while. And that's probably his bad characteristic of not understanding personal space. But the reason why I know that if I was the guy in the urinal getting leaned on while I can't pee is because I've been hot dogged before for like 20 minutes on the 4 train. Would you like me to elaborate, or would
Sure,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, because like before powerlifting coaching, I used to work on Wall Street, and then afterwards, I used to work in the meatpacking district, and on my way to somewhere, I forget where specifically I was working at the time. It was like 8:30 in the morning. I was trying to be as etiquette driven as possible and holding on to the middle or the uprights. And I hate holding on to the uprights because I'm short. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have to like really extend. But I go to the middle of the car because I know I have a long time to go on the train. I hold on to the upright. And then over time, the train gets more and more packed. And then it gets so packed to the point where this dude in a business suit is like up against my entire back, and I can feel his like penis go between my like butt cheeks, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like I don't know if this is on purpose or if this is just simply the situation that we as men find ourselves in. Because the train car was actually packed. There was not really much he could do because there were like, of course, two or three people that decided to push in when there was clearly no more space. And so as the people pushed in, the hot dog thing happened, and I'm just like, I'm not sure how to feel about this. I don't think it's intentional, and I don't think I would have ever thought that I would be in this situation ever before, but I'm just going to thug it out. And so
Now, was it sudden or was it like it slid in?
it was like a very slow burn.
Like it was on your ass cheek at first and then it just kind of just pushed over and
I didn't
docked
feel
or
I didn't feel it like eventually go into my ass cheeks. but at a certain point, because I like for 1 second I felt nothing behind me, and then the next second I felt everything behind me, and then I was just like, is that what I think it is?
Did you try
And
to convince yourself it was like keys or something or a wallet, or did
I
you
mean,
immediately know?
no, because the texture is not that of a wallet or a key. It's more so like, hey, did you are you having like a breakfast pickle in your pocket, or do you have one of those thick beef jerkies in your pocket?
It wasn't a Slim Jim.
Definitely
It
not a
was a
Slim
thick
Jim.
Jim.
It was a thick Jim. It was like girthy
It was a cheek spreader.
but soft.
I mean, I would hope so.
Like if it didn't stay that way, I would have been much more like, hey, like what the fuck, you know what I mean? Um, but I think that I like to think because I don't even know what he looked like or anything. I just knew that he was in like a suit because I could see
Yeah,
like right directly behind me, and I'd like to think that he was just as remorseful as I was, I guess, or as hey, like we're just gonna have to do this together.
you look behind you. There's nobody pushing him. He's just doing. There's plenty of space behind
Yeah, there's actually nobody on the train except for me and him. And yeah, I mean he got off his train stop, not like
him.
you know what I mean? He got off his train stop, and then I just remember like a huge wave of relief coming over me, and then I just went about my day. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that happened to me for sure, and so like that's why I know that if someone was like leaning on me while I was peeing or trying to pee, I don't think I would ever really say anything, at least not at first, because I thought that I would think that, oh, maybe I'm getting pranked or maybe I'm in the wrong somehow.
No, I definitely think I have a bit of a hero complex. I don't know what it is. I hate when people get bullied. Like when I'm like teasing people, I like you. Like if I don't tease you, I don't like you at all. I mean, I probably won't talk to you ever, but like if I'm not teasing you, just know I don't like you. But other than that, like I hate when like people do things to purposefully hurt or like make fun of somebody.
I
It's
agree.
a
I mean,
terrible feeling.
like I was pretty heavily bullied in middle school, and a part of me is like this was good character development, and another part of me was like this was wrong, right? And I just recently found out, not recently, but about a year ago, the dude that was bullying me, he died. He ate shit, and
Good, lucky. I mean, life worked out.
yeah, and I always, as someone that always tries to see the validity in both sides of a certain topic, I know that through third parties that he didn't have a great home life and his dad was like abusive towards him and things of that nature. So I understand the psychology of someone who is a bully. Not to say that I accept that. And by the way, I appreciate you never really teasing me because I don't stand for that ever, you know. And so it's one of those things where because now that I'm a completely different person since middle school, I've been someone that has been very aggressive towards teasing or mean sarcasm, and I like nip it in the bud. And it's interesting because I will be very aggressive in protecting that, but I won't be aggressive in being hot dog. You know what I mean? And
I get it. I know I get it because nobody hot dogged you when you were in middle school, so it's not like a trigger for you. You understand the dynamics of a subway in New York City. And by the way, I want to clarify like teasing, I don't mean like make fun of you teasing. Like I like making jokes like I like telling you you look Puerto Rican. Stuff like that.
oh, so trolling. I can accept trolling
Yeah.
because you have to accept it as much as you dish it out, and I dish it out all day, every day.
Exactly. And if you're trolling me, I understand that, like, you know, I understand that you like me and like not you specifically, but like typically if you're trolling with friends, it's because you're friends and you get that dynamic going. So
It is my
I
love
like
language.
I can't go without it. Right now, I have a debate with my friend when his birthday is. And he knows when it is, and I keep telling him it's different things. And it's just been going on for like 5 years, and I never say happy birthday
But do you
on the
say
right
happy
day.
birthday on the day that you think his birthday is on?
No, I say it on the wrong days.
Yeah, so that's what I'm asking is that
Yeah,
you have created this entire narrative in your head that his birthday is actually on this day, and he now has to accept that for the rest of his life.
yeah,
That's cool.
but it's never the same day. Like I know
Oh,
exactly when his birthday is, and every year I'll say it either like a couple days early, a couple days later.
yeah. I mean, I so you are more of a gaslighter troll because my
I
whole thing is just overstimming, and I guess shifting the perception of their reality for sure when I'm trolling because I'm a very deadpan humor type of person, and so a lot of people can't tell if I'm kidding or not, and so I will just take a troll to the absolute extreme and just play it up for like days or weeks or months.
I break way too quick. I can't keep like if I have a good one, I break way too fast. It's just too funny to me. Like I complete the journey in my head. So like I already see the result of this troll and that makes me laugh. So like
Yeah,
I can't keep going. Like I was never good at prank calls. In fact, I hate pranks by the way. I hate
yeah.
pranks. I hate cringe. Like I don't like watching cringe stuff.
I don't think anybody really does, like in terms of like watching like well, I guess there are people that gain enjoyment from watching like cringe baity things, but ah man, I remember that when I was like way more of a shithead, I prank called one of my coworkers and convinced him to call out for a job interview that never happened to somewhere else, unfortunately. And that's probably when I realized, like, oh, that's probably the most mean spirited troll I could possibly ever do. So I just kind of gave it up.
That's a crazy prank.
Yeah, I'm really good at pranks, unfortunately, and I'm really good at sustaining the joke. And
I can't.
I just feel like if I was a villain, I would be much more of a Moriarty villain than anyone else, like just more psychologically focused, more than like violence or brute focused or what have you.
I mean, that's one of the best villains ever. So not a bad one to to like model after.
Yeah, and what I enjoy about him the most is that it's kind of like a Batman Joker type of thing where they're so exact opposite, but they kind of need each other as well. And that is like I'm Moriarty and Sherlock, and I spend most of my day just ruining her life.
That's the dynamic you guys have in the relationship. You're
Yes,
just setting up pitfalls for her.
100%. Like
That's
whenever
awesome.
she is on the more annoyed side, or whenever she is most busy, that's when I'm just like, it's time to overwhelm and to overstimulate and to rage bait. And then she gets really pissed at me. And then I get really, really giddy and then I run away.
She's at this point she knows to like get fake pissed at you for you to stop.
I don't think she's been fake pissed at me for like the last 5 years. She gets real pissed.
You don't think she's already like, all right, I know when to start acting pissed off, and then he'll just stop.
No,
No.
because I need the real thing. I need the real.
Oh,
I need
fair
the
enough.
hey, like we're going to have a conversation about this after I get through what I need to get done. Yeah.
No, I can't do that to Sand. She'll she's a sweetheart. She's like She likes being everything. She likes me being very nice, which is very nice because I get to be mean to other people for her.
No, so I'm not like,
I don't mean you. Don't, I don't think you're mean to her.
yeah, I'm not mean, and
I
and
get
there's
it.
plenty of times where I'll be nice or be like, a very responsible and very hardworking husband. But there are times where if I have some free time, I'm just like, let me go bother her real quick.
Ooh, good question for you. Do you guys do presents for each other?
We do, but only really on Christmas and sometimes on our anniversary. Like we're going to celebrate 10 years this December,
Wow.
and the problem with me is that I'm a Capricorn, and so I'm literally like right. My birthday's right after Christmas, so a lot of times I will be more challenging to get a gift for because I personally prefer a combination gift. Like, don't give me one smaller gift for Christmas and a medium gift for my birthday. Give me like a big gift for Christmas and my birthday, and also give it to me as early as you possibly can.
You want that gift ASAP. That's why, like, Sand and I haven't done. I think we did presents like the first maybe few years, and after that, we're just like, this is too much. Like, I don't like the attention of presents. I don't like being watched as I open it and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know why I think that's fucking hilarious, but
I just don't like it at all. I don't like the attention whatsoever. And like, because I want to like have my emotions, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I can logically empathize with anything, bro. No matter how horrible or weird, I can make sense of it in my head. But
yeah.
I, I guess you're right because what is your love language?
What the fuck is a love language? Like, I
So
know, I get it, but like, I don't know.
I, I
Sand is my love language. I can't. I
I
don't
mean
know.
she's I mean yes, like that like it sounds like you and Stan have a really beautiful and healthy relationship, but also at the same time like blink twice if like she's in the room and she's like dictating what you're saying because yeah, at this point this conversation has turned into sand propaganda, which by the way, I am a huge fan of Sand. I think your wife is fantastic and I think she has
She's the best.
phenomenal sense of humor and she's very quick-witted and very nimble in social situations and I really really enjoy every time I speak to her but at the same time um, yeah, I mean, I completely lost my train of thought. But oh, okay, so
What?
my love language, like so love language. I'm not the expert on love languages. I don't think I can name all four. I believe there are four, but it's
Welcome to the
like,
warm up room where we talk love language and Capricorns.
dude, I'm a prototypical Capricorn, and I just recently reviewed my natal chart and everything. I have co-star, and dude, I am all over the place. Like I am.
You being an into astronomy is the last thing that I would
It's
expect.
astrology, by the way, but
Whatever the fuck
yeah, it's astrology. I mean, I think it's cool.
you corrected me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a carpet on my wall, and I don't have crystals at home, but I'm interested in that type of stuff because, yeah, I mean, like I had to text my mom, being like, "What time was I born?" and and stuff like that. But I'm just a fan of being of just learning as much as you possibly can about yourself, even if that is in areas like astrology or personality tests or what have you. But the love languages, I believe there are four. I believe that it is gift giving, acts of service, quality time, and I forget the fourth one every single time. So of those,
Touch.
yeah, probably right. And like, don't fucking touch me. But that's probably why I forget it all the time because it's just so meaningless to me. But I think my love language is absolutely quality time because I personally really enjoy like there's nothing more stimulating to me than when someone's like, "Hey, I'm going to set aside time for you and I, and I enjoy being with you, and you can be however you personally want to be. And that means a lot to me because I mask 90% of the time that I am doing anything.
What does quality time look like for you guys? Well, for you, I guess.
Quality time for just myself.
Well, just like your love language. So, what does quality time look like for between you two?
I mean, there's a couple of things it could look like. Quality time can be ordering from our favorite restaurant and watching some sort of mindless TV show like Shark Tank or something like that, and
That's
just
a good
talking
one.
about our day and just going a little bit deeper in conversation. Another aspect of quality time that I enjoy is co-playing, where I'll play like Call of Duty while she watches like Great British Baking Show or what have you, and also quality time to just myself, where it's just like, hey, we're both pretty tired, so like you do whatever you want to do, and I'll do whatever I want to do, and that helps out a ton as well. But I don't personally spend quality time with myself because, like we talked about last podcast, I hate myself, so I'm not gonna do anything nice to myself at all. But it's yeah, so I would say quality time is great because it there's nothing more meaningful to me to feel seen and to feel understood and to have someone make me feel like I am a priority to them.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I guess that's us too, probably. I mean, my favorite, like, yesterday she came home from work and, we got situated and we just sat on the couch and, like, looked at each other and we're like, oh, thank Christ. And then we just sat silently watching our show. That's the best. Like, I think if I have any energy today, it's because we were able to just sit there.
That's a good,
That's
yeah. That. I mean, it's good that you have that uplifting aspect to it because no matter what I do, if I have a stressful enough day, there's no recharging me. The next day is going to be absolutely shit.
that sucks. I hope I don't stress you out.
No, if anything,
uh,
more energizing for me. I mean, one of the biggest things that my I don't even know what to call him, but basically the biggest thing that I am to follow moving forward is unmask as often as you possibly feel comfortable doing because that is what is driving other comorbidities in terms of like other things I struggle with. And so it's just one of those things where if I can be completely myself, that actually tends to be very energizing for me.
yeah,
But that is not the case for like most of the time. Like most of the time, I just send out an avatar of, hey, like this is Coach Sean or this is friend Sean that you personally enjoy, or this is a version of me or what have you. But it is much more energizing and much more freeing to just like take the mask off for a moment and
yeah.
like, relax for a bit.
I mean, over the years, I've been. I remember, like, I have a very strong personality, I guess. So when I was younger, there was like attempts at masking, and like I feel like masking probably it means more like in every situation you have like a personality or mask that you apply in that field. So like if you were in finance, you probably had that mask on at the office and very analytical, and then you finally get to go home and be yourself or whatever. I tried that for so long, but my mask ended up being kind of the same thing everywhere. It just ended up just being me, just like dead in the face and just being very blunt and kind of like like a 1010 kind of attitude towards everything, which helped me out, but it wasn't a good mask, I guess. you
I
know?
don't think any mask is a good mask, to be honest with you. I mean, as someone that's been masking for 20 plus years, it's been one of those things where I think it's good for everybody else, and I think it's good for me. And similar to your gift opening situation, that I don't enjoy being perceived or don't enjoy letting anybody in. So a lot of times, I've always described my coaching business and my persona as a coach to be very much like North Korea, where people know about me and people know some things about me in a basic level, but they don't actually really know me. And when they talk to an athlete that I've been working with for a while, they're usually like, Sean said that, or, so I definitely unmask over time when I gain more comfort with somebody and I feel like they can handle it. But there have been people that I've been working with for like 5 years that I'm just the same exact way and just being like uber professional and never saying the wrong thing. But then when I am able to just be myself, I will say all the wrong things and be as edgy and contrarian as I possibly can be. And a lot of times, the social proofing or what have you has been that people prefer the latter as opposed to the former. But me personally, I've never really been able to make that developmental leap in, hey, let me just commit to this. I mean, now it has much more of a driving motivation to do so, more than ever before.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, but if I lose some lifters and things of that nature, then it's all probably for the best ultimately.
I don't I don't think you will because I mean the amount of people who like I made a comment on this like it's it's shocking me how many people are like in the same like how do you say it like who um concur with our thoughts and ideas on this podcast so far. I was a little. I thought some people like there would be some comments of like, "What the fuck?" Like, this is insane.
Me
But
too, by the
a
way.
lot of people are like, "Fuck, yeah."
Me too.
So
Especially with the first time that we had launched and I talked about what I would do as president. I think that that was pretty shocking to 50% of the people that I know. But I am generally done with just being a mask for a lot of people. And, it's just one of those things where you just, the things that you did to protect yourself or to gain oftentimes don't work once you've made it to a certain level. And for the rest of my year and for the rest of my life, I would say that my primary focus will be just trying to be as authentically myself as I possibly can be.
it's definitely a double edged sword masking because like on one hand, sure you can be palatable to people, but like on the inside, you're diminishing who you are, and then you start like I don't know, maybe not for everybody, but for me, start kind of like resenting yourself. Like you already hate yourself. We already have that self
And
hate,
that might be why.
and yeah, now like you're resenting yourself on top of that of like, fuck, like I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have been so nice about that where that person feels like they can like step over that boundary again. Um, so maybe on that front, I'm maybe a little ahead of you. Like I decided that a few years ago where I was like, I don't want to like people that don't like matter or like people who are like ancillary to my life. I'm just going to say what I want to say. And if you have a problem with it or if you think it's weird or like crazy, like I know that I'm not, you know, I mean, I know I'm a piece of shit, but I'm not like a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
You're not a piece of shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can be. And there's definitely times where I feel like I am. But, like, I also know that I'm a good person and, like, have good intentions and all that. So I decided, like, a few years ago, I was like, I'm not going to pretend for anybody anymore. There's no point.
And I'm just now learning that concept of, hey, it doesn't really matter. And ultimately, and this is what I tell everybody else, and I just never follow my own advice, even though I give excellent advice. I mean, I do it for a living. And it's one of those things where a lot of times I'll tell people, hey, those that were in your camp, no matter what you do, they're going to be in your camp. And those that are not in your camp, no matter what you do, they're always going to be against your camp. So you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and nobody really gives a shit.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of times I'm framing perspectives of, is this important because you think everyone is clocking you, or do you think that this is actually important to you personally? And a lot of times it is because people think that other people are clocking them. And then I ask them, hey, I'd like to think that I'm pretty mildly important in your life as your powerlifting coach, and this is what you decide to do with your free time. So, how often do you think about me when you're not checking in? And the answer is usually never. I'm like, there you go. I like there are people that are going to be in your life, but they're not really like worried about what you're specifically up to and what you're specifically achieving. They're just there to perceive what your long-term macro position is, as opposed to, oh, this person didn't hit a specific dots and there must be dog shit, or this person didn't hit a specific PR, so there must be dog shit. But it's also one of those things where if you are that obsessive and parasocial to another person, then it says everything about you. It says nothing wrong about the other person. Like, you're just a fucking loser at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about you every single day.
I appreciate that, but we're friends. As much
Well,
as you deny
before
it, yeah, it's
when
just like, oh, I
when
wonder
we
what
were
Sean's up
just
to.
coach athlete.
Like, I wonder what Sean's up to right now.
Yeah.
Up to no good, that's for sure. Whenever, like, between 9 and 6, I am just busting out check-ins and in meetings, and then from like before 9 and after 6, I'm just doing degenerate shit.
I want to be on your time. I want to be doing degenerate shit. Speaking of coaching, though, it's been pretty big topic recently with the Instagram sphere. What do you take? What do you make of like being like, say you have an elite lifter who doesn't improve their dots over a 2 year period? Is that the coach's fault?
I'm going to give a very coachy answer, and it all really depends, in the sense that as someone that has prioritized powerlifting as much as I possibly can over a 12 to 13 year career, the last 2 to 2.5 years have been non-progressive at all. And in no way am I saying I'm an elite level lifter. I'm
Yeah,
decent, and I probably will hit a 500 dots at some point. But that is certainly not Brad's fault. It is 100% my fault because I didn't know how to mentally deal with being a father and transitioning my life that much. And it is not until just recently where I'm starting to make some real progress in myself. So a lot of times it can be mired by injury, it can be mired by personal circumstance and personal high stress. But if a athlete is not progressing for 2 years and they are a franchise athlete and there's nothing wrong on their end, then I can see why people would say that it's the coach's fault. But ultimately, I don't personally feel like it is really anyone's fault or blame to be assigned. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes a coach is trying really hard and an athlete is trying less hard. And sometimes a athlete is trying really hard and their coach isn't trying super hard. And I think a big part of it is just the vulnerability aspect of it, where it's like, hey, I don't feel like pushing, or I can't push, or I don't feel
yeah.
confident in the program, and I'm not going to say anything about it. Or I'm going to try to say something about it and it just doesn't work out. So I guess in short, I don't personally like to assign blame on either the coach or the athlete because coaches generally try hard, and there's so many different things that go into a 2 year period that we as the public are not privy to, that when lifters do well in competition, it is almost never the coach. Like whenever a lifter does well, it is, hey, that lifter is great.
Yeah.
And when a lifter doesn't do well, it's usually, hey, his or her coach is dog shit. So I think us as coaches, we are in the hot seat and have a lot of pressure on us, and the athlete has a lot more wide berth of empathy and understanding. And I think that's generally what drives that perception of it's the coach's fault if someone's not able to progress in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's the coach's fault if the athlete is loading their own bar in the warm up room.
I mean, I've had conversations with this person, and what I
Um,
told them, what I told them is that heaven forbid you like eat a sandwich when you're hungry, and this is something that I personally have done myself, where I'm in a AM and PM session. I'm running off of no water and no food, and at a certain point, I'm gonna have to eat to like keep pushing myself. And there's been plenty of times where I've eaten and told the lifter like, "Hey, do this next warm up real quick," and go from there. So I don't know. I'm very hesitant to comment specifically and directly on how
no,
to coach.
I'm sorry if I'm putting you in that position. I don't mean it even that that person was at fault, really, because I have no idea what the situation is. I do find it funny that, like, maybe not funny, but I find it interesting that when you have something against somebody, like these people have against each other, you can find anything to put on them. Like a guy
Yeah,
eating a sandwich in a warm up room, you know what I mean? If that's what he was doing. But like you'll find anything and make it look like anything. I mean, people have their stories, of course, and sometimes you don't mesh. I don't know either of these people that well. So it's just I personally, my experience with my athletes, I had to convince them not to load their own bars in the warm up room because they're so like nice and like want to help. So I'm like, no, you just relax. Let me do this, please. Like, you need your focus over there, not on what we're loading. So that's how I would do it. But, you know, not everybody can be like that, I guess, or
yeah.
want to do that.
I think that there's always going to be moments of weakness for coaches
Yeah.
and athletes alike, and for bigger meets, I will usually have at least one other handler helping me out to prevent these types of situations from happening. But if you're by yourself and you've been there all day and you need a sandwich and your lifter's just starting to warm up, I mean, I don't know the specific context behind this particular situation, but um, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've fed myself at the expense of a warm up or two multiple times. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, I've also had higher profile lifters skid over a span of a year or so. And just as much as I've had higher profile lifters make continued progress every single meet that they do. And there have been times where I've not eaten all day to make sure that my lifters were taken care of. So I think it's just all context dependent and all very much how much you need to prioritize yourself to continue prioritizing other people as opposed to cut your own nose off to save your, or what is that saying? Like you cut
I'm
your,
terrible with idioms, but I
yeah,
know what you mean.
you get what I mean. Where there's, for all power, what I will say, and something that I'm heavily convicted in, is powerlifting coaching is something that is very high expectation and high level care to that lifter. And by way of the nature of the business, if you always have to sacrifice your stress, your mental health, your time to an overt degree to continue making your athletes fulfilled and happy.
Oh yeah.
And so at certain intersections, you have to give yourself that level of reprieve. Like, for example, one of my closest coaching friends, he takes 4 vacations a year, and that's unheard of in most powerlifting coaches' careers. Like, I only take 1 week off or 2 weeks off. Um, and I think it's great that he takes 4 weeks off because I'm sure he can be much more mentally present with his lifters for the other, 48 weeks that he has. But at the same time, if a coach is generally known as not meeting the standard, and the standard being set by how we all feel on the inside as coaches,
Yeah.
then yeah, the moment that you have a moment of weakness, that's going to be exacerbated as a sign that this is part of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, as far as warm up room etiquette and like things that can go wrong and things that coaches can do bad, eating a sandwich isn't even on the list of things that I've witnessed as a coach and as an athlete. I've had coaches literally hanging on the bar that my athlete's about to do a warm up on, and they're like setting up and they're hating on the bar, like talking to somebody else. And I have to be like, hey man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, first of all, you have your own athletes. Why are you here? And why are you in my way? And then they got mad at me for asking them to move. So like, there's a lot of different things that you could do, and being inattentive and like being an asshole is way worse than eating a sandwich.
I 100% agree. I think the most important thing you can do on game day is be confident, be assertive, and be useful.
Yeah.
And you can't have all three.
It's like one of those pick two kind of
Like
things.
I try my best to be all three as best as I possibly can. But what I've noticed is that when you're not confident, you're not going to roll your sleeves up and do the rack heights or do the plates until I come up to you and I'm like, hey, can you help me out here? And
Yeah.
so if I have to come up to you and you're a handler and I ask you specifically and directly for help, that means that I've already judged you very harshly and I hate you so much and I'm in a bad situation and I need you to rise to the occasion. But yeah, if you're not confident, you're not going to help out. And then therefore, you're going to let more confident coaches and more assertive coaches to do the work for you. But I
Yeah.
promise you that the coaches that are doing the work for you are never going to follow you back. They are never going to say hi to you at the next meet. And they are never going to have anything positive to say about you, even though you got help by them.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's the nature of being a like a singular kind of motion, like train, right? It's you want to make it all about yourself, especially in coaching where it's like you get work by pushing yourself forward. I think there's like a crab in a bucket kind of situation with a lot of these coaches. I kind of prescribe to like the comedian like way of addressing problems, where comedians tend to talk about how when there's a problem with another comedian, or another comedian either steals a joke or something like that,
yeah,
the norm is to take care of it behind closed doors and not take, money away from a comedian for being bad, because like one bad comedian makes the whole group look bad.
right.
You know what I mean? So like if you have a problem with a coach, as a coach, you should be able to take care of that behind closed doors and make it known to them that like you know what's up and like stuff like that and kind of like try to address it that way. And then if that doesn't work, obviously you can do whatever the hell you want if that person is just an asshole.
Yeah,
But
that is not how I conduct my business.
that's not.
No.
No. How do you do it?
I basically copied Denzel Washington,
Okay. That's that
where
could be
he
like
doesn't,
16 different movies.
no, just his way of being, in the sense that if he doesn't have anything nice to say about somebody, he will just credit something that he likes about the direction. Or so essentially, Denzel Washington has had a problem with some of his actors or his co-stars, and when he's asked directly about his co-stars that he doesn't like, he usually says he usually skirts it and he says, "Well, the director was great, the script was great, and I had a great time." Right? And I just distance myself from those people and never share a rack with them ever again, never interact with them ever again, and just keep doing my own thing. I am not a believer that I should be the one to tell you where you're failing at, because eventually the market will tell you that, like, no matter what,
Yeah.
or Yili will tell you, right? And I am very thankful to Yili for his for his work in powerlifting and what a standard should be. But at the same time, I empathize with coaches that sometimes get his ire because I've been there before. Maybe not in every single situation, but I've been there before. And also, to a degree, I very heavily depend on shitters being in the sport. I depend so heavily on that because I will completely increase someone's perspective of what a coach should be. Where there have been plenty of times where an athlete had only one question for me before hiring me, and that question was, "If I message you, will you respond?" And I say yes, and
That's
they're
so
like, "Okay,
sad.
let's do this thing." Or if I check in, will you actually respond within 48 hours? And I'm like, yes, I will. And then they're just like, yeah, let's do it. Because I think a lot of times, like the bottom 20 to 30% of powerlifting coaches, they're either overwhelmed, don't have good systems, or just don't give a shit. And that makes it so much easier for people like me, where I don't put myself out there and I just do a great job, or at least I think I do a great job. And that's just a significant increase to what the athletes used to. So, if anything, my business is very much dependent on 20 to 30% of the powerlifting coaches out there to be either complacent or just absolute dog shit.
I mean, I like that. If we're being honest, first of all, I have a big
I'm
time
always honest.
theory. I'm not. If
You're
I have,
always honest. Like, because remember, man, I'm just like, yo, I'm just gonna put the mask on off to the side and just be myself. And so, that's just how I've always been able to sustain a career. Like, I do a good job, and then someone talks about me doing a good job, and then that their training partner wants to see what I'm about. And as long as they're okay with dealing with someone who's very peculiar and odd, which I think a very large majority of my athletes are, then we're in good shape.
yeah, I mean, the amount of times that I've heard people like even doing check-ins, like there are coaches who don't do check-ins,
Yeah,
like at
I
all.
mean, I depend on check-ins. Like, you know how many times I get butthurt when a coach is like, "You should always be talking to your athletes every day, and if your coach checks in on you weekly, then your coach is dog shit." I get so butthurt about that because
It's
I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing a
insane.
good job. My athletes are progressing, generally speaking, and my athletes are generally happy. And why am I dog shit? Because I don't talk to my athletes every day."
Yeah, and what do you need to talk to your athletes every day for? I don't need friends. I'm a coach. And like if you're friends with your athletes, sure, that's fine. But like I'm not what am I going to say at the end of your day 2 bench that's going to change that week? Like it's a week of work that you need to address, not just the one moment. The amount of times that I have to it's not a bad thing, but like the amount of times I've had to be like, hey, that's just an anomaly. Like you had a rough weekend. Of course, day two is gonna suck. Like you just drank 3 days in a row and took acid. Yes, Larson press is gonna suck. Like what else am I gonna say that day? But like you know, coaches that don't do check-ins, coaches that don't even like I've some coaches don't even do like video calls ever. It's it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, maybe it's just because of my neurodivergence or what have you, but I think that I would almost always rather have better depth in something than in better quantity of something. So if I can only talk to you for, if I can only have your attention for 20 minutes of your week, then it's going to be the most important 20 minutes that I can communicate. But if you're messaging me about your day two Larson press, I am getting back to you with minimal cognitive effort
Yeah.
because I got a text message while I'm like shitting on people in COD, and I just review the last rep real quick, and I'm like, this looks great, go up 5 kilos, right? But when I am sitting down to do a check in, you are all I'm focused on, and your Larson press on day two is all I'm really thinking about. And I have much more flexibility to enact positive change. But if it's, hey, text me every day or message me your videos every day, I mean, first and foremost, I probably would end up not being a powerlifting coach if that was what the market demanded. But if more often than not, your coach is probably distracted or talking to 5 different lifters at the same time, and you're not getting the best quality answer, you're just getting that dopamine hit of, I text this guy that I pay far too little, and he gets back to me immediately, and now I'm affirmed. And I'm like, if you're that type of person, I don't even want to even get on an interview with you. Like,
Yeah.
and this is a big reason why I don't coach anybody that's below like 25 for the most part. And shout out to the people that I coach that are below 25 because they are the most mentally and emotionally mature younger people that I've ever met in my life, and that's why it works. But I
Yeah.
I want my lifters to have a crushing amount of responsibility outside of powerlifting because that just means that you do it for the love of the game because otherwise you wouldn't be doing it because you're so busy, and you have to show me that you can hold a job, you can hold a family, you can hold a relationship, you can hold all kinds of different things because that makes it easier for me to do my job. But if you are just in your dorm room just fuming that your coach is not responding immediately to your tertiary bench press, then you probably need therapy. You're probably like a low value that is doing the bare minimum and wondering why you're not getting anything out of life, and you think you think you're special when ultimately, like, the real world is going to teach you that you're probably dog shit.
Your athletes, probably all of them, have been doing it for like at least 3 years or something like that, right?
Yes, usually I don't really coach novice lifters, just primarily because I love my info dumping for sure, but I also don't want to be expected to info dump every single time we interact.
Yeah. It's a little hard for sure. Um, but there, I talked to a girl the other day about she's doing some kind of app that like does it's like ZocDoc for powerlifting coaches. Do you think that's a good idea?
Probably not. I mean, no disrespect to her work or whatever, but the problem is that there is no standardization of what would be a good coach or not. So, for example, you could just be like, "Hey, let me like review bomb positively for the athletes that I coach, and then I will be elevated on that app." But I could just be like pushing up my ranking and taking over clients that actually could be better off with another coach. So like,
Yeah.
well, I guess what I mean by that is that a ZocDoc for powerlifting coaches does not really go into their personality and their strengths and their demographic. It just more so goes into, hey, PR total, good coach,
Yeah.
or I like this coach, but doesn't necessarily mean that you might like this coach, right? And so for me, that's why I just really very heavily rely on referrals, because chances are, if you are friends with somebody that I coach, you probably would do well in my system. But I personally would never get on a ZocDoc for coaching.
Yeah.
I've been invited a couple of times because this idea is not new. It has been tried before, uh,
Yeah.
many times, and it has never really worked out because that's what Reddit is for, and that's what open
I
powerlifting.
mean, there is something for that. Like there is something to where it's like a standardized kind of, not even maybe standardized, but more like you can go, you can choose like what kind of communication preference do you want? Like often do you want to be able to talk to your coach and stuff like that and kind of filter through that. You know what I mean? So there's something to it. I don't think it's a fixed system or like a good one at all yet, because the one that she was mentioning was mostly based on like totals and dots, which is like I think anybody can get Ashton to have a fucking 550 dots. You know what I mean? I know a young coach, like a 17-year-old coach, he could probably get Ashton to do, an 800-pound squat. It's just like how do you choose based on that? You know what I mean? So there is something to it. It could be helpful, but I agree. Like, not everybody can deal. Like, personality matters a lot in coaching. I think being able to know your athletes and meet them where they're at matters a lot. I'm sure like there's a lot of athletes that you have that are probably you have to be this way a little bit, and some of them you have to troll, some of them you have to be a little nice to, and like that kind of stuff. So like a coach's ability to do that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I personally uh, think that there's just so much soul in choosing the right powerlifting coach for you that it's not like the best restaurant in your area, or it's not the best movie that you can go watch, because the highest rated coach. So, for example, if it's based off of PR totals, then if a coach specializes in novice lifters, then that coach is going to always look great on the app and may not necessarily know what to do with advanced to even intermediate athletes. And they
Yeah,
would get a bunch of inquiries from that person to that person, and that person would be overwhelmed and then would just be set up to fail. And if it's a matter of dots, then that would mean that the coaches that already cartel the fuck out of the sport will just continue to cartel the fuck out of the sport. And
yeah,
I will say that I certainly benefit by being one of them for sure. But that's also a big reason why I've put in so much emphasis towards offering mentorship programs or doing group mentorship programs, because I believe that if me, as someone who is debilitatingly introverted slash neurodivergent, if I can be a successful powerlifting coach, there's no reason why another person can't. But at the same time, there is a lack of care and a lack of understanding of the je ne sais quoi of powerlifting coaching that goes far beyond how you peak a lifter or how you coach a lifter through a squat or a bench or deadlift. That once the 2 or 3 months of getting all of that done, it just becomes, hey, I'm going to go hire a coach with a better personality or a coach that has more fulfilling nature of like commentary on my stuff,
yeah,
because they can't just all be rubber stamped. So yeah, I mean, I hope it works out, and I hope that it shines a light to undervalued coaches. Because, for example, um, nobody says like, "Oh, Marcellus is underrated" or "I'm underrated" or anything of that nature. But for example, like Skylar Holt, like super underrated coach that is crushing it as one of the presenters in the mentorship class. And this dude has been underrated for years, you know. And so what I hope for that app is that it creates an opportunity for underrated, really intelligent coaches with good personalities to actually get their bit of the pie that they personally deserve. Because
Yeah.
you know the 10 of us or the 15 of us that have the majority of the pie, I think it's a responsibility for all of us to send the ladder down for everybody else, and I think we all kind of do that in our own way. But that climb is tough. You know, that climb
Yeah.
to get to our point is super tough, because you either have to be like a really bombastic personality, or you have to be really, really good at the X's and O's of the science behind it, or ideally both. And that is a unicorn type of situation, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
those types of unicorns don't
I'm
really stay underrated, though.
I don't have any stake in this app, so I don't have any hope for it one or the other way. But if it is good, I mean, it can help a lot of people. If it's gonna have the wrong metrics, it will suck. So it is what it is. Listen, I think we did it. We had a lot of fun. It's I think we're at an hour, so um, yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for the five of you that listened to it. And
Hey, it's 18, okay?
is it
we,
really okay? That's good.
yeah,
That's good. I
we have
mean,
about 18.
it's only going to keep growing, and yeah, maybe like next time we get on a call, I'll hit you up with some ideas. But had a great time, and thank you for the 18, hopefully 20 of you that are listening to this, and just keep it going. You know.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Have a
Yeah,
good
have a good
day at
one.
your meet if you're having a meet.
Peace
Bye.
out.